Hello and welcome to CoastBoxOffice.com. This is our first video in a series of videos to help you get up and running with the system. This is just an overview to introduce some concepts. We do encourage you to look for the YouTube icon throughout the system as you're starting to set up your events, etc. Click on it and we'll take you through what you need to know. But this is just an overview. This is our live system as it stands at the minute. Obviously we're looking at a desktop view of CoastBoxOffice.com. But it is actually designed as a mobile first platform. So if you have come to the site on your mobile phone, you'll see that the experience is just as rich. It lets you do pretty much everything. There is some caveats there, of course, is that when you're starting to really get into the nitty-gritty of administering your ticket sales and want to see statistics on a wider screen, then we do obviously encourage you to use a PC or a Mac or something with a bigger screen. You can, of course, do it on your mobile phone, but there are distinct benefits to having a bit more screen real estate when you're doing those things. So let's just have a quick look at the system as it stands. This is our live system as of this date today. We see a listing of events, and the events, you need to understand that the events are not necessarily on sale. So you can actually start promoting your event well ahead of when it's actually going to be on sale. And the reason we allow you to do that is to start building traction. You can see here's one here. This is Sweeney Todd. And it's really just, if we actually look at it, we can see that there's no actual tickets available. There's just more details here. We know the Attic Theatrical are doing it. We know some basic information about the show. We can start sharing it. We know the synopsis. But essentially, and we know that it's going to be from November 5th, but there's actually no way of booking it just yet. So what we're doing is the system is very, very tightly integrated with search engines. And the reason for that is that we want people to be able to find your shows or your events. There's no point in putting your events on a website if search engines such as Google or Facebook or whatever don't actually recognize it as a proper theatrical event. So from the ground up, we've designed Coast Box Office to be very, very tightly integrated to conform to pretty much every conceivable standard out there for promoting events. So this is an event. It's coming up, but we don't have any particular details. What we will do is, as we approach the start of the show and when tickets go on sale, we'll start to build more information into it until finally we release tickets and they're available here. But by that time, all the search engines are aware of it. When anyone searches for Sweeney Todd, they will see links to this particular page on this site front and center. Now that's the whole idea of Coast Box Office. Now that doesn't mean you have to do it that way, of course. You can just go straight in and just create a show such as this one here. You can see we've got a video on this one here as well. We've got our branding, we've got our venue, and we've got our ticketing information here. So and also I will say that you don't have to sell your tickets on Coast Box Office. You can point them to where you are selling them. So if you're currently with another ticketing system for selling, you can simply just point and this is actually the case with this show. Here we can simply just go, I want to go to Sunday the 1st of May, and it pushes you off to the actual ticketing site for that. But what's happening is we're using this as a primary launch pad for the show and point of promotion. We can also see that it's tightly integrating news, so we have a review here of the show, and if we click on it, it will take us to that. And conversely, this news article here is linking us back to Coast FM, the radio station that did the review, the actual program on Coast FM, which is Sounds of Musical Theatre, and the actual show itself. So it's automatically doing that. From the news article, we can link directly to, as again, back to the show. And we'll just go back to that, and here we can see this is Sounds of Musical Theatre, and we can click on the brand and it takes us to the brand, and again this is all on the site and all heavily, very, very tightly integrated, and also obviously Coast FM here, which pushes us off to Coast FM's content. And that's their brand banner at the top, and you can see that they just have the Sounds of Musical Theatre here as the only product, or at least event, under that particular brand. So the system, and it does that all automatically. So it is harvesting news, relevant news from across the internet, and we can see here we actually have quite a bit. We have, for example, Shrek the Musical that opened. on the weekend, I think, and here it is. It's under Japuka, and it's also Shrek the Musical, the actual show, so people can go here and they can go and just instantly go and grab their tickets. Not a problem. So that is fundamentally the whole premise of Coast Box Office, is that it tightly integrates everything together. So that if you want to find a show that's on, and for example, we might go to this one here, which is an upcoming show. This is from Symphony Central Coast, and we can see that we might want to see, well, what's more events from Symphony Central Coast, and we can see that they've got 3 events coming up here. We might want to go, well, what's on in... Now, they happen to be performing at the Central Coast Grammar Performing Arts Centre. So we can click on that, and we can see, there's the Performing Arts Centre here. We can even see, in this wonderful layout, beautiful theatre, the actual seating plan views. We can see the views of the stage, and we can see what's coming up at the Central Coast Grammar Performing Arts Centre, regardless of who's actually providing the producers of the actual shows themselves. So we may look at another show such as, let's see if we can find something. There's something on the Art House, and we'll look at the Art House. I'm not sure how many shows are currently on at the Art House. So we can see here's the Art House. It's pointing us to the Art House in Wyong, and we can see we've got 4 shows coming up for the Art House. Likewise, we can also search by location as well if we want to see something happening in the same area here in Wyong, which you'll probably see is we have a few more. We have a few other theatre companies in Wyong. We have the Wyong Grove, the Wyong Musical Theatre Company. So there's a few other shows happening around the area. And this is all automatic, all tightly integrated within the system, all done automatically. You don't really have to do anything other than just fill out the basic information to make this happen. Obviously, the ultimate game is for you to sell your tickets here, and we'll get into the thick of that a bit later on with more of the actual application of ticketing. If you're an agent on the system and your content is not appearing in here, you've just got to let us know where you're posting it, and we will point our aggregate engine to your site, and it will start pulling your content. And that's all, of course, free of charge. There's nothing you have to do other than just let us know once you're signed up as an agent. We can see we have all the brands, the applicable brands down here. Gospel Musical Society, for example, upcoming shows. And some of these are on sale, like School of Rock's on sale. Priscilla, now this is a show that hasn't even been auditioned yet, but we're getting traction now. It's starting to build that presence. You can see we've got actual news content coming in. It's hooking into the show. It's promoting Sounds of Musical Theatre and Gosford Musical Society. It's linking it all together well in advance of a show that's going to be happening in six months time from now. So that's the idea, is that we're trying to mitigate the issue that a lot of theatre companies have, is that they scramble to get some traction out there, a few weeks before the show opens, because ticket sales are not going well. The whole idea of this platform is to build your presence for your brand and also your product as early as possible. And start getting it out there and really build some traction around that. I mean, look, we can see, if we look at what's hot in the system, we can see the show Into the Woods, right? It's actually automatically given it a hit banner because it's currently on. It's got great reviews and it's really, really popular on this site. We see Symphony is also very, very popular. Ben-Hur, okay, now Ben-Hur has been on and off as a show because of COVID now for some time, so it's actually had a presence on our site for some time. We have other shows, Moulin Rouge, Music of the Night, Bohemian Rhapsody. This is a crazy popular show, and I see other shows, Penn and Teller. But right at the top here, we're seeing the current show that's on, Into the Woods, and that's an automatic determination from the system as to how popular this particular show is. So just to give you an overview of the mechanics of the system, your menu is presented down here. You can flag your own. You can see I've actually flagged it as a favorite event. You can just go through and tag events. I want to see that one. I've already tagged Moulin Rouge, and then when I go in to see my favorites, I can just see the shows that I'm interested in. So as a visitor to the system, I can scan what's currently available. and I can then go through and tag things. Now, what you need to understand here is that I'm actually an agent. I'm actually logged on as an agent. I'm a system admin. So it's only showing me shows within my context, which is my agency. If I were to log out, I would see a broader spectrum of events because it's showing me now everything. But I need to be, so shows like this, which is from Red Tree Theatre, they're under a different agency. And I wasn't seeing those before because I was just logged on as me. So the system does that deliberately so that when you're logged on yourself as an agent, that is, not just as a, if you just logged on as a guest member of the public, then it will just show you everything. But the reason it does that, filters for you as an agent, is just so you can just quite easily focus in on your own content that you are promoting or that you're promoting on behalf of someone else. The system will obviously give everyone these menus along here, which is, you know, what is available to book now, what's coming up in June, what's coming up in July, a few months out, what's hot, we saw that, your favorites, and of course then straight off to the news site, which again is aggregated news and pretty much done automatically. We do curate it, or at least it's automatically curated, but that is mostly done automatically within the system. So again, along the top here we have your menu if you are an agent, and I'll just take you through this briefly. We're going to look at this more detail coming up in the other videos, but basically we're starting with your venues, your licensing information. We do hook in with Square. Square is the payment platform. So if you want to actually take money through the system, you need a Square account and you need to have that set up to accept payments. It's very simple. Square is an awesome platform. A lot of people use it for point of sale. You may in fact use Square at your box office to accept payments. And if you do that, then you're already most of the way there. All we're going to do is just connect to Square in here with your Square account, and you're in business. You can start taking ticket bookings online, and we'll cover that later on. But you can see here I've got my list of venues. We looked at the Central Coast Grammar Performing Arts Centre there before. We can see we've got our venue, we've got our seating plans, and again we'll look at this more detail. We'll just have a quick look at the actual venue itself. We can see the venue here. We can start to look around and see those pictures, same pictures we saw before of the actual the seating plans. We can have as many different seating configurations as we like. We can have general admission, we can have actually allocated seating, we can have all kinds of different seating arrangements that we can think of. There's circular seating in the dining hall at Mangara. And it's really easy to set that stuff up. It's not difficult like some of the other systems where you've got to, where it's very finicky, and the idea here is that you just set up once and you continue to use it. So once you've set up your seating plans, you don't have to do them again. It's simple. Your events themselves, obviously your agency account, we look at seasons, your ticketing structures, we can build different ticketing structures, and then we have the concept of brands. So say for example Celtic Illusion was a brand that came through the coast a while back. So it has its own brand here, and if you are just a musical society or a drama club, you would probably only have one brand, which is yourself, and then under there you will put your different events. We've got Sydney Opera House. We've got two. We say Penn and Teller here is an event that's happening under the Sydney Opera House brand. And that's where you start setting up your shows, setting up your exhibitions, and managing things going forward. That is primarily where you sit, where you are running your, we talked about Coast FM before. It's Coast FM. Sounds of Musical Theatre is just an event, but we've just set it up as a promoted event. It's not something you can buy tickets for. It's essentially just an ad. And you can do that. You can just put your own events, upcoming, or, advertise auditions, that sort of thing, in the system, all the way through to actually selling tickets for events. We can look at bookings for shows. We can go into our shows and look at the actual bookings that we have for our shows. We can search accounts. We can search, and obviously we can also check in. Now this supports 2D scanners that you can get, handheld scanners, and honest to God, they're only about $30 or $40 to get a scanner. And you can just scan the tickets as people turn up, and it will check them into the theatre. Very, very cheap. And you only need a laptop. You don't need any special hardware. If you want to print out tickets, it's just a regular printer. You don't need a special ticket printer. And it will print tickets and again we'll look at that when we look at ticketing in detail. But it's very, very straightforward in order to get your information out there and working without having to invest in any special hardware. And again, most people these days will just have their mobile phones, and when they buy tickets, they'll get an extra banner up the top. Again, we'll look at it when we look at those videos. And they can just click on it. It shows their QR code on their phone, and you can just scan it at the door, and they don't even need a ticket, or at least a printed ticket to get into your show. That is the basic overview of the system. If you have set up as an agency, then please take the time to click, or at least look for that banner at the top when you're going through the system. Click on the YouTube video, and we'll give you loads more information to get you up and running as fast as possible. Thanks.